survey by 3T Impex Consulting shows that about 94% of exporters experience rejection of their financing request by Nigerian banks. The survey further notes that MSMEs need to be export ready before approaching a bank for financing. Bamidele Ayemibo, an export consultant, joins me to discuss this report. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today, Bamidele.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, these are staggering figures we have here. 94% of exporters' financing requests been rejected. However, this points to the need for developing bankable proposals that get the nod right away. Let's talk about what's playing out here and talk us through the figures.
Yeah, I mean, the need for the survey became necessary as a result of the need for us to generate foreign exchange. And CBN governor in the past week, both at the biannual event and also at the Bankers Committee retreat, reiterated the need for banks to find a creative way of solving this problem so that banks do not depend on the government to generate forex, but rather generating this forex from export transactions. And that necessitated the need for a research like this. And like you said, 94% of the exporters, and by the way, the exporters that participated in this survey are about 227 across the 6 geopolitical zones in the country. And we have, according to the inspection agent, we have just about 1,000 companies that have exported. So we have pretty much over 20% of Nigerian exporters participating in this survey. And this cut across small, medium, micro, small, medium, and large organizations from Nigeria. 94% of these companies have rejection. That means eventually, some of them eventually got acceptance or approval of their proposal. But the fact that we have such a high level of rejection means there's a problem that needs to be dealt with. Of course, majority of these people most likely are among the SMEs. And I don't know if you're aware, at the last CBN retreat, CBN governor actually stated that bank must find a creative way of solving this problem because really it's become a major challenge for us that we need to solve. And one of the recommendations is the fact that we must invest in getting this business ready. But more importantly also is that the bank must become more creative in the way they go about financing. We found out that in terms of finance, sometimes we try to use old solution or old model to solve new problems. Someone have learned about how to access credit in a particular way, and now he's going to, as finance export, and he's going to use the same model he has used for general credit to come into export. And you find a situation in which financing requests are being rejected, not because the transaction cannot go through, but because the person in question is not using the right criteria for assessment. And I think that contributed to such a high level of rejection of export financing going from Nigerian banks.
And globally, we're seeing that there's an increasing volume of volatility in terms of access to loans, but it's also important for Nigeria to have exporters being able to access as much loans as possible. But right now, beyond that finance base, we also have to look at port logistics, the turnaround time of vessels, and also standardization, meeting the criteria for us to tick all the right boxes to ensure we have a bigger pool of foreign exchange from whatever we're exporting. How do we begin to leverage on areas of comparative advantages beyond these lapses?
Now, beyond what we found out in that research was, sometimes we see some steps being taken by government to solve some problem, and I think it's good to become a bit more scientific in solving this problem. 59% of exporters said, 57% of exporters said access to finance, port challenges, like you mentioned, and government agency challenge with customs and the like are their major challenge. That's about 57. Now, one of them is the port challenges, which CBN is trying to deal with. I think it would be good to begin to have collaborations around, let me tell you one of the major issues we found out on that for the port logistics. We discovered that even though now we have some different terminals in Lagos and probably around the country where container can be obtained, goods can be loaded, goods can be transported to the port, but the clearing of goods cannot take place in those locations.
Exactly. These challenges are not new. However, concerted efforts are needed to ensure that we deal with all of them right on time. Thank you so much for your time on the show today. That was Bamidele Ayemibo, an export consultant.